Hello, buddy. Welcome back to the Tin Man's Quarter channel. I'm your host, Jeff for Tin Man Taylor, and today I'm reacting to my second Minster Nightmare video for you guys. And this was titled 4 Freaky True Camping Horror Stories. So without further ado, I'm going to turn these lights off, move the camera up here for you guys, and let's get this reaction on the road in the bag, shall we? Okay, here we go.
Number 4. This happened during a Boy Scout campout when I was 15. My friend, who was supposed to share the tent with me, called out from the trip at the last minute, so that meant I had to pitch the tent and sleep in it alone. The sun was going down, and after a long day of hiking, we got back to camp to set up our tents. It was already dark at that point, and I was still trying to set it up. It wasn't as easy doing it yourself. Someone came over and finally helped me, and then we ate dinner.
You know, I would be kind of bummed out too, because then I won't have nobody to talk to before we get inside the tent to go to sleep. But then, hey, you have the whole tent to yourself, basically. But yeah, if I went on a camping trip, I'm definitely making sure I have somebody help me set it up.
After the cliched telling of scary stories around the campfire, we all went to sleep. I guess I was a little happy that I had my own tent at that point, since I had more room. I fell asleep quickly, but woke up in the middle of the night to the sound of somebody stomping around my tent. I immediately assumed it was another scout going to take a leak or something. You may be thinking that all our tents were pitched right next to each other, but our scoutmasters actually had us pitch our tents far apart, so I was pretty far from my closest scoutmates. The stomping around the tent seemed to just be going around in a circle, so at that point, I was sure somebody was messing with me. I asked who it was, and in response to that, they stomped off into the woods. I almost found myself going out and following them, but I figured it wasn't worth it.
Yes, it ain't worth it, because you walked out of that tent, whoever's walking around in them leaves stalking the other tents is probably a kidnapper, and they're waiting for one of you to get out of the tent and then probably snatch you and run away quick. Best thing to do is just wait until morning and tell your scoutmaster about it. And if they say it wasn't one of the adults that did it, then you know it was somebody that wasn't supposed to be there.
And just tried to fall back asleep. But after that, it was hard to. Sure enough, the stomping came back and started circling the tent again. I was pissed off now, so I got up and unzipped the door to the tent. I was expecting to see another scout, but when I confronted the person making the noise, instead I saw a grown man, probably 6'5", in his mid-30s. My heart was racing and I couldn't even gather up the courage to scream. The man gave me a creepy smile and then brought his finger to his lips, signaling for me to be quiet. I did a quick 180 and sprinted to my scoutmaster's tent, screaming like a baby. He ran out before I even reached the tent, and I told him about the man I saw. He and the other scoutmaster ran over to my tent with one of the hunting rifles, but they didn't find the man. They did, however, pick up on the tracks the man left walking around the tent. We were all told to bring our tents closer together, like literally right on top of each other.
Hey, you don't have to tell me twice. I'll be moving it closer too, because if you got a person that's got bad intentions walking around in your campsite, then you do not need to be far away from your scoutmasters, because if you're further out away from them and that guy decided to grab you, then they wouldn't be able to hear you scream or run out quick enough to stop them. But let's just see what happens next.
The trip was cut short the next day and we all went home. I have never gone camping since, and I never will again.
Okay, that guy pretty much ruined the trip for them kids. But I wonder what he was really doing. I mean, if he was like skinny, 6'5", was he a kidnapper or was he a drug user? Who knows? But man, I know if one of them scoutmasters saw him, they would probably fire a warning shot up in the air to tell him to get out of here. Or if he ran towards him, then they had no choice to shoot him. But thank God they did cut the trip short, because if they stayed there a few more nights, you never know what that guy would have done. He probably would have came back and circled around another boy's tent or tried to mess up the tents or something. You never know. But I'm just glad they never got to find out. But hopefully they have park rangers looking for that guy.
Number 3. So me and a couple of my buddies went camping last summer alongside the Willamette River. We actually had a decent hike into the deep end of woods. We did some night fishing, listening to music, and basically drank to the point where everything was funny later in the night. I would guess we finally called it a night somewhere past 2 a.m. I shared a tent with one of my buds, while the other two shared another tent. We heard them laughing about something. At first we laughed at the sound of their laughing, but it soon got annoying and we yelled for them to shut up. One of them responded, "It isn't us." I sat up, startled at the response. I came to realize that it was the sound of only one person laughing, and it didn't sound like either one of my friends.
Oh, heck no. I don't know if it will stop if you try to yell out of the tent saying, "If you don't stop laughing right now, we're coming out here with a gun." And if you brought a gun with you to fire it off, that guy would either still be laughing like he don't care or he will be running away because he don't want to get shot. But I think I heard this story before because I seen some animated YouTube channel that animated some of Mr. Nightmare's stories of their videos, and one of them was this one. But I tell you, this one's already freaky sounding.
Even in my drunk state, I realized how odd it was for somebody to be out this far in the woods so late at night. The laughing gradually got closer and louder to our campout. My friend shot up and looked at me with a worried look on his face. I heard my other friends scream over to us that they were getting freaked out. As the laughing got even closer, I could make it out very clearly to be the laugh of a male, probably in his 30s or 40s. He sounded like he was as drunk as us, messing around with friends, but we only heard his laugh, nobody else. There was something indescribably creepy about his laugh, too, as if it was missing something to it. You had to be there to understand what I mean. The laughing was now just at the edge of our campsite.
Oh, dear God. My blood would be cold in my veins, and I'll be hollering at my buddy's tent if I went with some other people to run and get out quick. Because if that laughter sound keeps getting closer, you know that guy's probably in the campsite and he's about ready to jump onto the tent and scare the crap out of you more or open the zipper up and get you. But either way, I wouldn't want to stand there a lot longer to find out what happened.
But we couldn't hear any footsteps at all. Now that may not seem like a big deal. It was impossible to move through that without making noise. And finally, all of a sudden, the laughing stopped completely. We had no idea where whoever that was standing, as he hadn't made a single stepping sound. We sat there in silence looking at each other. My friend was clearly freaking out, but he was keeping it together the best he could. Finally, something broke the silence. The sound of something rubbing against the cottony fabric of the tent. We saw the outline of a hand through the moonlight, pressing on the tent. We both screamed at the top of our lungs before getting out of the tent. We ran as fast as we could through the woods, our other friends following us. After about 5 minutes of running, we somehow found our car. I actually puked from running so much before taking the wheel. I don't condone drinking and driving, but I still believe we were just in this situation. By far the most horrific experience of my life. No idea who or what the hell that was, or what they wanted.
Hey, I'm just glad you guys got out of there quick while you did. Because if you stayed there a lot longer, whoever was out there probably would have pounced or knocked you over the head and robbed you of your possessions or worse, kill you. Who knows? Or it might have been a sick prankster that was trying to scare the crap out of you. Well, if it was that, it worked. But that was not right. That's just cruel if it was a prank. But man, that is just scary.
Number 2. After college, I went backpacking in the Canadian wilderness for a few weeks by myself. To put this in perspective, I was in the middle of nowhere. The nearest town was a 3-hour bus ride away, and I only saw one other person, who was from a distance. He was in a canoe, during the entire 7 days. I brought a few disposable cameras with me, as this was before digital cameras were too widespread. I took a lot of pictures. When I got home, I had them developed and took a look at them. The pictures were standard nature shots until I got about halfway through my first camera. There were 2 pictures of me asleep in my tent in my sleeping bag. I literally freaked out when I saw it, and I had a complete breakdown. To this day, I have no idea how those pictures got taken. I haven't been camping since, and I sleep with my door open and my curtains shut, and I still get the paranoid feeling that whoever took those pictures is still watching me somehow.
Well, that tells you you had a stalker that followed you to where you were camping at, but it's kind of weird that they were taking photos while you were sleeping or when you were just setting up camp. And I wouldn't blame you for now closing the windows and curtains because you never know, that sick person might have followed you home. But yeah, if that happened to me, I wouldn't camp outdoors anymore either. So I'm sorry that this person had to go through all that. Maybe if you go to a different campsite in a different state, you probably won't be followed by that same person. But that would be terrifying for sure to bear witness to, or just to see photos of yourself that you did not take.
Number 1. My boyfriend and I decided to go out to the gorge for some quality time camping. We had always gone with several other people, but this was the first time it was just us 2. When we got out of our car to prep our gear for the mile hike back to the camping spot, 2 sketchy-looking dudes came out of the trailhead, eyed us, and went back onto their old-school Volkswagen camper van. I had a weird feeling, but shrugged it off and proceeded back to our camping spot. I had previously camped in the same area a handful of times, and I knew it pretty well. Once we got back there, I knew of a handful of different camping spots, and proceeded to check them all out for the one that would be ideal for us. I noticed what looked like someone camping further up the hill, so I picked a spot a little further down where we'd most likely be out of sight. Not out of earshot though, as I heard him yelling with someone else back over on the trail. It was starting to get dark by the time we got everything set up, so I figured I'd start looking for firewood. Suddenly, this guy appears out of nowhere and asks us if we'd like any help, and offered to sell us a bundle of firewood for $10. I laughed because we were in the woods, thus surrounded by wood, which I could pick up off the ground for free. He then said that I wouldn't find much because they'd already cleared it out over the past few weeks. Few weeks? I asked him how long he'd been camping up there, and he said almost a month. I already had the creeps about him, and he claimed he was up there by himself. I asked him why I heard him yelling with someone then, and that he had referred to more people when he was talking about the wood. He stammered and was like, yeah, there's some dudes I know camping over there up on the other side of the river. Then he proceeds to tell us that he's been lonely since he arrived. He is from Pennsylvania, took a bus to Lexington, and had been living in the woods back behind where I currently work. I knew exactly where he was talking about, because I saw some homeless people, immigrants, and drug addicts coming in and out of those woods every day. So basically, he was a homeless man who somehow got a ride out to the gorge and decided he would just live there instead. He had been living on snakes, bugs, and selling firewood for money.
Oh, that is just great. A couple goes up there to try to enjoy a nice camping trip, but then they have a run-in with a creepy homeless guy, and he's trying to sell them firewood for $10. Really? So he's been collecting all of the good burnable wood just to sell it, when other people could just go around and just pick it up for free. You telling them that you're eating snakes and bugs and trying to sell them firewood for $10, they would call the cops to get you removed from that area, just so you wouldn't bother them no more. Which I doubt that's going to happen here, but that would be crazy to see while you're camping.
But he said we were the first people he'd seen in a few weeks. His stories were all over the place, and I knew he was lying about a lot of what he told us. He wasn't alone, even if he claimed to be. He even took us to his camp where there were tons of stuff for several guys, not just one. He said he likes camping up top where he could see everything, and everyone. Then showed up our campsite. He had a straight shot view. By now it was dark and he helped us get a fire going. I was trying to politely get him on his way back up the hill so I could have a minute to process all of this. When he left, I started whispering to my boyfriend that there was no way in hell I could sleep with that lying, sketchy homeless creep right up the hill. We didn't have a gun, knife, or even a dog to protect ourselves if we needed to. my boyfriend somehow convinced me to stay a little longer, so we planned to stay the night. But all throughout the night, we heard twigs and branches snapping around our tarp, as if somebody was watching us. It was that man. I knew it was. He was standing out there, watching us. I said let's quietly get our shit together and get the hell out of there, which we did, only we left our new tarp set up because they would make too much noise and he'd know we were leaving. As soon as I stood up with my pack, ready to get the hell out of there, he yells, "Leaving so soon?" We proceeded to get away from there as quickly as possible. The most disturbing thing, as we were getting away from there, the man yelled for us to come back. That only made us go even faster. In my mind, we were either getting robbed, raped, killed, or something, because he was not alone. His stories didn't add up, and his background of where he came from made me believe he was running from something and was trying to hide by living off the grid. I called the Rangers the next morning and told them about him. Luckily, all he got from us was a set of new tarps.
They were right. I'm glad they got out of there because you never know if that guy would have opened their tent up, molested the girlfriend, killed her boyfriend, and robbed him, and took off. I mean, I'm sorry that they cut their trip short because of that psycho, but yeah, if he kept on jumping around questions, I mean, like, that's an automatic red flag. Okay, he's hiding something, and he don't want to admit to it. He's dangerous. Never know, he might be a murderer that's on the run, or just someone who's just hitting too many drugs and they're losing it. Who knows? But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on post notifications for more Mr. Nightmare reaction content like this. This has been another successful installment of the Tin Man's Corner channel. I'm your host, Jeffrey Tin Man Taylor, and I said that's a wrap, and have a nice day, buddy.